If you get an afternoon slump in your brain, especially when you eat and you get that sunk feeling afterwards, that's a swollen brain cells from excess insulin, because that's what it's taking to regulate your blood sugar. And it's like a baby concussion. I can spot insulin resistance from across the room, and I'm not doing anything fancy. This is easy. You and the whole country has it, or most of you do. And even if you cannot appreciate how bad it is in your story, there's a few things to test how healthy you are. And I think those things aren't going to be something your doctor is going to take time for or get reimbursed for. But dang, you can walk through that door to your doctor saying, I think I got a problem, and here's what I think we should do to work on it. Boy, your doctor should love you. Most of my elder patients, and I say that with all the respect in the world, but elder to me means severe insulin resistance. They got triple digit numbers, they're north of 50, and that they've been triple digit for a while. They shouldn't eat after 3 o'clock.
We believe that you are strong by design, and you were made in God's image to have a strong body, mind, and spirit. You're listening to the #1 strength and health authority podcast in the world. So let's get ready to unlock your potential and transform your life in today's episode. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Strong by Design podcast. Coach Chris hosting today, sitting with my friend and 4-time guest now on the podcast. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Dr. Annette Bosworth is here. We got done a little while ago filming in the very hot Critical Bench compound. Yes, you freshened up nicely. You did what'd you call that? The Haitian...
The Haiti hot tub, which is
the Haiti hot tub.
Which is the sink. And you take a spit bath in it for whenever you're in Haiti doing a mission trip, you get a tub of water. So it's the Haiti hot tub. And you would just splash off and learn to feel refreshed from that and keep going.
Wow. Well, yeah, it worked out fine. I am in my 4th outfit, I think, of the day. It's just ridiculous. My wife gets so tired of me on these filming days because she's like, I have to do a whole load of laundry just because you did YouTube filming and workout stuff. So Dr. Boz, again, has been in the building several times, always filled with so much great information, great content. Had to have her back to tackle a topic that's very important, that does really well on your fast-growing YouTube channel. Look up Dr. Boz on YouTube for sure. She's an internal medicine doctor. Now, You've been doing this for over 20 years now.
Yeah, we're like 25 years. So It's like I've got a game figured out. I've got a gig. Being a doc, you look for metabolic problems in today's Americans, and I'm not going to run out of business.
Yeah, I love just to touch on something that you were just talking about that you've been doing since not that many months after you moved to Florida, was going to the bowling alley. You rent a room, the party room on Tuesday mornings. It's open, available to you. You do this weekly, and you get people that come in. Typically, plus 50 years old, I would imagine, most of these people. And you're there for like an hour plus answering questions and helping people in the community with their metabolic health.
Oh, it's such a big deal. I mean, when I first came to Florida, one of the biggest worries I had coming from South Dakota was, will I get to engage in the community the way that I grew up in South Dakota has more cows than people, but everyone, and the community is a really big thing. When you're looking at the amount of changes somebody needs to make to really give them strong metabolic health, it's not one little lesson, they walk out the door and they're better. They need a journey, and they're going to fail, and then they need a place to come back and say, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? I think of it's like it's AA for carbs. I mean, it's a support group where you just show up and keep trying. And when I first moved to Florida, I looked for a place to do that, and every place was so expensive.
Yes, I'm sure.
But apparently the pin chasers, which I'll tell you, just hats off that company is run really well.
Yeah.
They really engage their community. They do a lot of school events at that place. And nobody was...
Is that the one out by the airport? Is that the one?
Well, that's the second. They have two of them. There's one there.
Okay.
The one on Armenia near the Raymond James Stadium. They had nobody renting their birthday room at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. So they let us in early, and folks show up all over Florida.
Wow.
Like they drive for this hour 15 support group where we talk about things that I would love to talk to them about if I was their physician, but behind the exam room door, there's no insurance company that's going to pay me or for the time it takes to really teach that.
Wow.
And, the YouTube channel has turned into the place where I can't afford to tell you what a ketone is. First of all, I'll lose my mind if one more person says, what's a ketone? But I can send them to a YouTube channel and I can use some visuals and they can rewind it a couple of times if they need it.
Yep.
And I can do a really good job of doing what I think God designed me to do, which was be a great teacher. And so that Tuesday morning gives them a back and forth. The hard part about having your classroom on a YouTube channel is you never get to see the nodding heads that they get it.
Yeah, right.
So personally, my selfishness is to have a place where I get to see the 3D version of the people I'm teaching. And I love the stories that come through that door and say, answer this question. And we have some rules. We make veterans go first. So when newbies walk through, they don't ask me, what is a ketone? They get to look around, see what's going on, and we'll have a check-in. I start with a prayer, and then I tell a little story of something that's going on in my week and say, if it's Thanksgiving week, we'll say check in by saying, oh, how did your journey go last Thanksgiving, and what's your strategy for getting through this Thanksgiving, or something like that.
Right.
And so they do a little check-in, and then they ask me a question. And,
that's great.
The community is great, but also the teaching is as you watch other people do hard things. Same thing happens when you're trying to help people with addiction or just trying to live a better life. That if you never see somebody example it, it's hard to implement. These are mirror neurons in our brain, and when we watch somebody, we copy them. So seeing it is really important if you did not grow up in a home that really had grace and say, hey, you fell off the wagon. That's not the end of the story. Here's how you try again. And boy, if you've ever tried to change something in your life, you need to see that again and again and again and again. And so I love it. It's my favorite community in Tampa is the Pin Chasers, and they show up and ask questions. And I have this 95-year-old who drives down from the Villages, and he is there by 8 o'clock.
And that's like an hour and a half away at least, right?
Yes. It's like,
wow.
He's the cutest little 95-year-old, and Ken is.
And he comes regularly?
Regularly, like at least 5 out of 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And so there's a great community that comes. So the stories are good for me to just be doing what I do. And there is no doctor that will put in that much time to teach that. And I think that's really, where my YouTube channel is really kind of blown up is you have to learn this. If you're going to look for better health in the 21st century, first of all, I can spot insulin resistance from across the room, and I'm not doing anything fancy. This is easy. You and the whole country has it, or most of you do. And even if you cannot appreciate how bad it is in your story, there's a few things to test how healthy you are. And I think those things aren't going to be something your doctor is going to take time for or get reimbursed for.
Hey friends, Coach Chris here, and I've got something new from our team at Critical Nutrition Labs that I think you're really going to like. It's our brand new apple cider vinegar gummies, a powerful way to support digestion, metabolism, and fat burning without choking down that harsh ACV liquid that nobody likes. These gummies taste amazing, and they're easy on your stomach. They're packed with B9 and B12 for extra energy and daily wellness. So if you're looking to control cravings, support your blood sugar, reduce bloating, and feel lighter overall, this is a simple, natural habit you can stick with. And the best part, we're running a special launch promo all month long while supplies last. So head over to criticalbench.com and look for ACV sale in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Take care of your gut, your metabolism, and your goals, one gummy at a time.
But dang, you can walk through that door to your doctor saying, I think I got a problem, and here's what I think we should do to work on it. Boy, your doctor should love you, because that's his whole docket for the day. Her whole docket for the day is metabolic health. And
that should be the priority for any doctor, right? Should be, how can I fix you? Not how can I just
get through.
Let you get through, let you get by with some prescription for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Which that's what people in their minds, that's what they see, right? When they envision a doctor, they either see like a brain surgeon. That's pretty obvious what his role is. But other doctors, they just see as, I want to keep living the life that I'm living the way I want to live it. And how can I do these other things to let me keep going the way I'm going,
So have you seen any of this Maha, RFK trying to, how do we revamp this, right?
Yes.
So several of the people that I'm good friends with are in this circle that can influence this. And they are coming from the land of don't ask Western medicine to fix this. This is so much bigger than a prescription can fix. And so like a week or two ago, they said, well, we're gonna take care of pre-authorizations. So you know what those are, right? Where if you come into the doctor and I want to give you advice, I want to prescribe something for you, or I want to put you, I want you to have a surgery for something. Your insurance company won't let me do it until I'm authorized. So it's pre-authorization from the insurance company,
Gotcha.
And it's really just a hitch in the giddy up. It's a way to slow things down. It's a way to make sure that the authority is the insurance company, and the doctors are just like playing strings. What's the rules for this insurance company? Oh, and then they brokered a new deal, so now the rules have changed. They don't always tell you that up front, so you got to figure out this kind of guessing game. And there are full-time staff for that brain surgeon in order to get what he needs done. Like the classic one they used on the nationwide news was, if you have approval for getting the heart transplant, great. But to keep you alive until the heart transplant happens, you need this machine.
Wow.
And so they would approve the heart transplant, but they wouldn't approve the machine, so the patient would die. So you're like, okay, so now they're going to fix that problem. And in my heart, all I could think of is, you're focused on the wrong thing.
Yep.
If today's world of health-driven minds want to see health really erupt and just take over their communities, it isn't about did they get the right surgery at the right time. It's how can you reverse away from needing it. And boy, it comes down to your mitochondria, your sugar, your sleep, and what you're putting in your pie hole. It really doesn't have. You can't go to the next steps without that. You say, but my gallbladder isn't working. But I need this brain surgery. I'm like, I don't care. If your metabolic health is crashing before you have any of those surgeries, the amount of life afterwards becomes compromised if you don't fix that. And to me, there is not a reimbursement model that does that. You need to be in a journey with other people that are also working on it. And the stair step out is slow and steady, but it backs them right away from the 15 prescriptions they usually come in on, now down to a couple. And now you may still need the surgery, but dang, the surgery is less taxing on you. You lose less brain matter when you went under the anesthesia, and your recovery has higher yields for the quality of life afterwards. And I have big hopes, and I pray for the people that are running the country now to say, there's so much more to getting people healthier than the pre-auths being fixed and the prescriptions. Yeah,
we've been moving in the wrong direction. As smart as we've gotten, and as much technology as we've implemented and discovered and all this, we know so much more about the body now than we did 50 years ago, but we've gone backwards so much in the control to the insurance companies. And it's like the destruction of our health industry is these darn insurance companies. It's like, I know there's good doctors out there that want to fix people genuinely, right?
And you look at them, the crop that when I entered medical school, there was a lot more that were independent, that were able to make decisions about their own clinic, about their own private practices. And if you couldn't get under the umbrella of a hospital system over the last 25 years, you couldn't make it, or you made it very poorly. Ask me how I know. Because the reimbursements and being outside the pack, it just was too hard. If you weren't going to follow every guideline that was out there, you were too easy to attack. But did the patients get better? And, when I started the Pin Chasers here in Florida, it was an extenuation of what I'd done in South Dakota. Same thing. I have these people. I want to help them. Their insurance is not going to pay for me to teach them this. So it's just cheaper for me to do this free every week, and you come and I'll answer your questions.
Wow.
And then what you get to see is the attraction of people who just genuinely want to get better. And it is not a magical, let me show you one little trick and you're going to be all better. It is a journey. And this first step is, what's your blood sugar when you wake up in the morning? And when it's in the triple digits, you got a problem. Let's work on that.
Now, speaking of blood sugar, you have stuff, and you like to prick and get blood and do anything you can do. This is not the first time we've done this on a podcast or in a video. So
I think it was 2 times ago that I said I have a CGM for you to put in.
Now let's check. Where was I this morning? Right? Didn't I take a picture before our workout? Mm-hmm. At this right morning would have been noon, 12 right? Noon. So I took a picture. I was at 102, and my ketone were 0.3.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna check it again. And now you've done 3 workouts. And we did 3 little mini metabolic workouts. And during that workout, we made your sugar go up, which you're like, oh, isn't that backwards? And which was part of the reason we were doing this, is to say, no, when you mobilize sugar due to activity, you get the benefits of improving your health, even if that blood sugar went up. So we're going to check ketones there. We're going to check glucose here and see what your numbers are now. I wonder if I have enough, or if I have to poke you again.
You have enough blood? You have to poke me again?
Come on. Oh, I might have to do it again.
You have to poke me again?
Oh, it got it.
It got it?
Just barely. Oh, but ketones went down, and that's not a problem. It just means you had low ketones before.
Is that still coming?
I thought. You know what? That was. Oh,
what? That can't be.
We might have to check it again.
5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, you might have to do another finger.
I was going to say. Okay. I think it didn't like us. So it's like, wow, that's so strange. The beep was that one being done. I thought it was.
Okay.
It's the same sound though. Okay, so it's ready.
There you go.
There we go.
There's a
good little drop.
Good drop.
Yeah, so this is one of those point of care things that you don't need a prescription for this. You just need to be able to say, all right, what do I do with the numbers? And so that's 83. That's really good.
Yeah.
So take a picture of that again so that you have it for comparison, because it's really helpful to say.
This is only about 3.5 hours later.
Right, where you
after some mini
sent
workouts.
Your blood sugar up to, I think it was like 125 or something.
It got as high as 139.
Oh, wow. So again, mobilized a bunch of sugar when you did a workout, and that left this place for it to be refilled from whatever sugar was left over, and your mental clarity, your ability to focus for the rest of the afternoon, highly predictive for moving sugar around and then generating that burn, that energy that your body needs. But I mean, you live in this space, right? And even just explaining how that sugar worked for those workouts for you was, that boosted your education. When I'm looking at folks that are, coming into me at 65 years old saying, I'm having trouble with my memory, or I just don't have the mental energy. And now we're talking in a language that says, all right, I need you to flip the fuel. If you're going to make it from here to the grave without being in assistance, having that, that step down in the quality of your life, we got a lot of work to do in the world of insulin resistance being reversed and metabolic health being advanced. I mean, you're pretty fit. Have you been more overweight than you are now in the last?
I'm actually about as heavy right now as I've been in years. I'm fluctuate between like 220 and 225. Ideally, I'm between 205 and 210.
Okay, and so
I'm about 5. I don't know. These days, I feel like I shrunk. Say I'm 5'10".
Okay.
I know I was 5'11" at one point, but I'm almost 50. So, I would say about 205 to 210. I usually hold a pretty good amount of muscle mass, but I'm definitely 10 to 15 pounds heavier than, I'd like to be.
And so we put a continuous glucose monitor in your arm this morning.
Yeah.
And the last time we did this, do you remember what your sugars were doing in the morning when you'd wake up?
Oh, I would be down to the 70s.
See, that's really good health.
Yeah.
When I look at folks that come in to see me, those morning fasting blood sugars, they're in the triple digits. And they're like, but my doctor said that was no big deal. It's not diabetes. And I'm like, don't wait for that. Don't wait for that.
And diabetes, you say, is what's the number?
126. So fasting sugar of 126.
It means when you wake up in the morning and you check at 7 a.m. or something after not eating since 9 the night before or whatever, that you're still 126 or greater.
That is diabetes.
That's diabetes.
But a number of 105 doesn't mean healthy. It should be that you have emptied and used all that sugar while you were sleeping. And most people don't. Most people, even if they've used most of the sugar, it took a ton of insulin to do that. And it's in that higher insulin production that your doctor's not going to tell you about. Even if I would check your insulin when you come in to see me, it's super volatile. It goes up and down. It wiggles around. And a spot check is not as important as what the researchers do, which is to do an insulin clamp, which is they put an IV in one arm that drips in insulin and an IV in the other arm that drips in glucose. And as they put glucose in, how much insulin does it take to control that? And so that's insulin resistance. And when you take young, healthy people, a little bit of insulin drops the glucose. But as the insulin production is more and more and more and more over time, your cells have grown numb to it. They can't hear it. And so now it's taking like 2, 3, 4, 10 times as much insulin to hold that blood sugar stable.
Wow.
And to measure how much noise is obsolete is only when you've got that insulin clamp happening. So people come in and say, my fasting insulin was fine. I'm like, you were lucky. Meaning you really have to see what does it do in response to sugars, eating or drinking a bunch of sugar. And then you still don't get the real impact of how much insulin it took to regulate your sugars. And that is why the insulin resistance problem it's so hard for people like, I don't have that. I'm like, if you put on weight in the middle and it was hard to get off, you've had that. If you get an afternoon slump in your brain, especially when you eat and you get that sunk feeling afterwards, that's a swollen brain cells from excess insulin because that's what it's taking to regulate your blood sugar. And it's like a baby concussion. Oh. Yeah. And you look at reversing that, and it's still hidden getting that fasting blood sugar back down to where yours was, like in the 70s, that's healthy. You're going to wake up looking at their blood sugars and they're like, well, I'm at 95. Isn't that fine? Like, it's not diabetes, but it's not fine. It's not reversing. It's not preventing the dementia. It's not preventing those metabolic problems. And
you had said when we were filming our metabolic workouts that are on YouTube, by the way, for anybody who's listening to this and you want to look at YouTube to see what the workouts we're doing to our numbers, definitely go check that out on the Critical Bench YouTube channel. But and again, another plug for Dr. Boz on YouTube. If you want to learn more, she has a lot of content. You have so much content
all
now.
the stuff your doctor wants to say in that exam room, I've tried to put on YouTube.
I know, and that's what's so, most of us have very little, even if we're educated in the health and fitness space, we still have very little education specifically in this area. This is a bit of a unique, particular thing that you've spent a long time.
Right, absolutely.
Reading and writing and publishing things in this area. Now you're doing your own numbers.
Right. So right now, when I started that workout, my ketones were like 1.3 or something.
Yes.
And now they're 0.9.
0.9.
I'll hold that up just for the camera, 0.9. And then the glucose is down to 70.
70. What was it earlier?
Right. So that's the beauty of what we were doing with
you
those.
got up to 110?
Right around that, right? Yeah. We can go check.
Was your high spot. And
So,
now you're,
this is blood and this is fat, sub-Q fat. So I will bet that in the next few minutes, this drops. Yeah, because this is a few minutes.
This is going to be more
accurate. Right.
But what's cool about the G7 glucose, the CGMs or
continuous glucose
glucose monitors we're wearing, is that you can calibrate them based on what you're finding on the blood test.
Yeah, when you do this and say, okay, so the blood glucose that I just checked, and we could do one more just to make sure. When I've calibrated before and you say, okay, is it my body's subcutaneous fat that is just not keeping up, or is that really my blood sugar? So it is the point of care stuff that, this is what the FDA warned about, is do the patients have enough education to be able to use it? And I'm like, it's not that much education. Yes, it's a point of care, meaning there are mistakes that can happen, but check it again. It's not obsolete. It's data, and adding data to your list. This fiber optic. So I'm just going to show you when this clicks in.
Yes.
It's a little fiber optic that's laying in the subcutaneous fat, and it is approximating the sugar in your subcutaneous fat with your blood sugar. So especially after a workout where there's quite a bit of changes that are happening in the last 10 to 15 minutes as we sat down here, cooled off.
In air conditioning, relaxing, rehydrating.
And then you say, well, who's right? Is the subcutaneous fat right at 96, or is my blood sugar right at 70?
What's mine say? Because what?
Right, yeah.
I want to see what mine. Like we tested mine, and I was at 83. And if I look at my monitor, see, this still says I'm at 114.
Right.
So there's a big deviation for both of us between. Now this is 96, and that's 79. So
right. So I would say that two of them in the 70s. I would put that the calibration here is going to be like I'd put 75 and say that's the right number.
Got it.
And this says 96, and it will take that data and it will calculate into the algorithm of what is the right number.
Huh. So how would I do that for mine? If I
push plus.
Yep.
And then do you remember the exact number?
It was 80. Oh shoot, it's right here. 83.
Yeah. So then put in 83, and you
put it right here under blood
glucose.
Yeah, and just
then
type
you say
in.
uses calibration, and this is the key thing that
83.
And
Save.
Now the next time in the next 5 minutes when that system updates, it will use that in the algorithm to say what's the right one. It'll make you confirm. Oh, you already did that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, this is the beauty of you're never going to find a doctor who cares as much about your health. I mean, God bless my patients. I care, but you can't care as much as you care about your health.
That's right.
And this is where the education should not be happening behind an exam room door. First of all, there's not a reimbursement program out there that can cover that. There are not a lot of doctors who stepped out of that realm of saying, I am so tired of educating one at a time. Let's try this YouTube thing. And that's where my first video came out. I think it was 2013 or something. And it was on sleep. It was on brain. Like, I can't fix I can't fix this brain problem until they get their sleep right. And it's the basics on sleep, but it was not basic to them. It was like mind-blowing. Pun. It was going to change their mind in so many ways if they could get their sleep down.
Yeah.
And man, I just remember feeling so free the first time I put that video out on YouTube and said, there's a handout in the PDF that is the fill in the blank, kind of like, the third grade where you'd fill in the blanks as you're listening to the teacher, or, the preacher who leaves the blanks in while you're giving the sermon.
I know exactly that. Yeah.
So I'm like, we are using this concept to say, pay attention, fill in the blanks, and bring me this piece of paper back knowing that you've listened to this lecture enough that you comprehended it.
Yeah.
And it was such a game changer for patients being able to. It was like Groundhog's Day. Otherwise, you're coming in, you've got a brain injury, and I say brain injury when I hear chronic migraines. I say brain injury when I hear insulin resistance. I say brain injury when you're not sleeping well, and that's because that's what it is. It's all an insulin resistance background. The insulin was the problem because of the cortisol, because of the pain, and we will fix this, but you have to do some things first, and sleep was one of those. And I remember thinking, I finally got out of the groundhog loop when they would come in saying, okay, I listened to your thing. I'm on step 1. And it was like freedom. Like, okay, we can move to step 2. I've seen you 7 times over the course of 4 months.
Wow.
And I couldn't move to step 2 till you did step 1.
Yeah.
And we are there. We get to
frustrating. I mean, even if I'll form an analogy because this is what I like to do. As a longtime strength coach, personal trainer, you get clients who are coming in. They have goals if they're preparing for something or whatever, or they just want to feel better and move better in life, whatever it is. But if you can't get them to do just a few basic things differently in their life, but yet they're still coming to you seeking real change with the same goal, we're just going to keep running into a wall here because you'll never get the result you're after because you're not doing these other 3 things that we've talked about.
And then what do they say? It didn't work.
It didn't
work. And I put
work.
that in air quotes because I'm like, no. Step one was always where we got stuck. And that beginning where when you have somebody who's walking wrong, okay, and you've said, okay, you got to increase that core strength. You got to stop doing that thing with your hip. You got to get that stride. All the stuff that is so subconscious in their brain. But if they can't improve that, we can't get you out of that rut.
Right.
And those things happen in medicine when it comes to sleep and how you cope with the bad day. And no, you can't have booze every night if you want me to fix your brain.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother conversation, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, we've talked about this here. We talk about everything here in the hallway conversation, the doorway conversations about, the alcoholics that don't realize they're alcoholics. Right. But they can't go a day or two without having their 6-pack of beer or their, 4, whiskeys at night or whatever, or their 3 glasses of wine or whatever. And it's like, this has massive long-term consequences, doesn't it?
Yeah. And, when it's your like brother-in-law, it's your, neighbor that you kind of hopefully like that's across the street, and you're trying, how do you get them to change behavior?
Yeah.
That positive peer pressure. Okay. That positive peer pressure means they're in a relationship with you, but you put a continuous glucose monitor on and you start saying, let's compare numbers.
That's right.
Man, if they're drinking beer at night, they are not going to be able to compete. No. I mean, that alcohol it's a toxin, and sure, it's got a purpose in our culture that you can, make social connections easier. But when you're trying to do metabolic health, your insulin's going to go up. It is going to sabotage the plan, and it is one of the, like, you can see people graduate at the Pin Chasers where they come in. And I mean, just like when somebody's trying to not drink booze, they'll think, I can't believe people say they're never going to drink booze for the rest of their life. And you're like, well, don't think about it that way. Just start with today.
Right.
And get you through the next week.
Start with today, and then we'll move on. I mean, you got to baby step it, because most people, right out of the gate, they're sprinting.
Right. Oh.
And you're like, well, you're never going to keep that pace up.
I call it ass over apricot. And they're just tumbling down the hill going, no, you're going to crash and burn. And I see it all the time. They show up at the Pin Chasers. They fly in from anywhere, and and they'll say, I got to have these questions answered. And everybody they're like hairy eyebrows. If you don't answer my questions, it's not going to calm down. It's only an hour of questions. And I think that's a reflection of what's happened to our country, that you get our generation of folks getting to a place where they've always had blood sugars that have been in the 70s. They weren't probably checking, but now it's snuck up, and maybe they checked for the first time, or they'll go back maybe after this podcast and say, the last time your doctor drew your blood, what was your glucose? And if it was in the triple digits, it was too high. It should be in the double digits. That when you eat, when I look for the people whose insulin resistance is not existent, they really are healthy. Before they eat, their blood sugars are somewhere around 80 to 90, and this is during the day. Does not have to be super fasting.
Yep.
They put food in, and their blood sugar never goes above 140.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right. And then that's at a half an hour that it should peak, and that's where no more than 140. But by an hour, it should be down to 130. Mm-hmm. And by an hour hour and a half, it should be a 110. By 2 hours, it should be back down to that double digits.
Yep.
And people say, well, doc, that's not mine. What do I do? I'm like, well, you're eating too much processed carbs, or too late. Or you've got all these other problems that have been brewing for years. Their sleep isn't deep. They don't have muscle mass where you can mobilize, throw out a bunch of sugar over the last
muscle mass will hide or help you get past some things a little bit easier, won't it?
Oh, absolutely.
And I just told you I'm not at my ideal weight. My ideal weight's probably 15 pounds lighter than where I am right now. However, I have carried a lot of muscle mass for much of my adult life.
Right.
I mean, college, 20s, 30s, 40s, because I love strength training.
Right.
I love it. It's a passion. No one has to encourage me. I do it naturally, and I do it every week, and it's one thing I'm super consistent in.
Right.
Whether I work out here, which we have a pretty nice private
really
gym.
Really nice.
Or I have a great gym in my house. My wife and I have dedicated ourselves to having a good gym that we can do everything that we want to do in our own house.
Wow.
And so there's no excuse.
Right.
But I'm passionate to do it. I love to do it. So it's an easy thing for me.
It's a coping skill. It's like, I feel better, right?
So I always feel like with just a little bit of extra effort, I can get that extra 10 or 15 pounds off. It's all nutritional.
And Chris, you're right. I mean, the buffer that you have provided for your own life expectancy, and I don't just mean quantity, but quality of life, is muscle mass protects you.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could like just slop some on some patients, just saying, if I could just have a little more muscle mass to work with here, you wouldn't be suffering so quickly.
Yep.
I mean, when I look at what chronic stress does, take somebody at a job that is pushing them too hard, and they don't have your benefit. When they hit a tipping point that their life kind of falls apart, call it fibromyalgia, call it chronic pain, call it insomnia, depression, midlife crisis, perimenopause, all of these are their metabolism has been trying to buffer against the stress. It wanted to protect you. And when you have muscle mass on your side, you really can keep that suppressed. You got the 15 pounds, but you're right. It's tiny little changes for you that would put you back on the side of health.
Yep.
I mean, you're already on the side of health, but it would, really.
Sure, dial it in.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, my body fat, that's a whole nother indicator. And BMI is a crappy information. BMI, I'm like off the charts, Body fat, ideally, I'd love to be in the 12 to 15% range,
right.
But I know I'm probably pushing 20%. And so, it's for me, it's a purely, and 4 years ago, and I think I told you about this, 4 years ago, I did worked with a friend of mine, Will Grazione, who in his own right is phenomenal. He's a bodybuilder and he's a coach. He works with people. He's so smart. Actually, I don't know why, I should connect you with Will because he's brilliant. And I was recording and monitoring all of my food, all of my activity, reporting to him weekly, having conversations with him. And I got down way low. I was lower than I was down to like 191 pounds, 192 pounds. I did one of those, the DEXA scan for body, which is the best way to test for body fat. That dropped. But it was a dedicated 6 months of like knowing every calorie that went in and monitoring it on spreadsheets and having weekly, I don't have
patients aren't going to do that.
I don't have the interest in doing that forever, but the accountability was, you couldn't argue.
Right.
And I got exactly what I wanted out of it. And it taught me a lot. Right. But most people aren't willing to give that.
If you look at most people, gosh, I would love to always have the extra of a muscle mass on your side, but they walk in and they don't have that.
Yeah.
You put a CGM on them, and now they are seeing, I'm like, here's the goals for healthy. And when you're not there, and they'll do crazy things. They'll say like, well, how long could I go before my blood sugar finally got to that? And I'm like, go try it. I mean, most of the time I've got a good enough sense of that's a knuckleheaded idea. But I'll have some of my insulin-resistant patients that have fasted for 5 days, and their blood sugar is still in the triple digits every morning.
Oh, my gosh.
And you're like, see, you have a problem. This is where it hides. And they're floored. They're like, this must be wrong. And I'm like, calibrate it, check it, And I've had some severely insulin-resistant patients where as your blood sugar drops, your insulin drops. You cannot make a ketone until you've dropped your insulin from what it used to be. Okay, so there's the big, ghost of insulin resistance is you don't know what it used to be. You need that insulin clamp thing to really know how much is noise versus effect on the cell. And now you're saying, well, am I getting there? Am I getting there? And the first answer is, well, you lower your insulin enough to produce a ketone. You should make ketones every night. Your body should use that as the repair zone for decreasing inflammation, improving that brain, washing that brain from the stress of yesterday. Most people don't produce a ketone when they're sleeping. When you look at somebody who's saying, all right, I want to see how long it takes me to make, how insulin resistant am I? And you say, well, we can put you in this contest of salt, water, black coffee. You check your blood sugar every morning, and we're going to keep going until your ketones go up and your glucose come down. Now, I don't do this anymore with patients because it's just a torture session in teaching them, and I think there's easier ways to do that. But I did this for several severely overweight, severely insulin-resistant patients, and we were at like the 12th day before their ketones got out of the 0.1, 0.2, 0. Finally, they hit 0.6, officially nutritional ketosis. So can you imagine going that long without a snitch of food?
No. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit so it's not hiding underneath you too much. I told you about that rational fasting program that I followed for like 14 days. It's a friend of ours, Elliot Hulse, and it was 14 days. I lost 17 pounds. This is 6 years ago, I think I did this. Totally changed my... I don't know. I felt like a different person for like months afterwards.
That's weird.
And it was strategic, like intermittent fast. So it was like 3 days not eating, just water with electrolytes, then a ketogenic meal.
Awesome.
And 3 more days of not eating. And then you could have, so if you started on Monday, so you get to the weekend and you could have a ketogenic meal on Saturday and a ketogenic meal on Sunday, and you had a window of time. And then you would follow that same thing for a second week. Yeah, 17 pounds I lost. I changed nothing else. I worked out, I still worked out. First day was my hardest day because I was a whiner and like hungry and, that whole thing. Day 2 is a little bit better. And day 3 was actually not too bad.
Feeling
and
good.
knowing I was going to be able to eat.
I know, the countdown to
So
the celebration.
yeah, it was
right?
like, and I had bone broth to break my fast. This is the best thing I've ever tasted in my entire life. I'm like, this is ridiculous how good this tastes.
So
The flavors,
good.
I'd never done fasting like that before for 3 days. But the flavors, everything, the smells, everything
Your
was
brain's
like
on fire.
heightened.
So here's what happened to your mitochondria. So in that time, let's say you were probably headed towards insulin resistance. We all are. It's a survival mechanism to say when there is processed food around or there's abundance of glucose, we're going to store it. That our body will insulate, waiting for the famine. Well, welcome to the land of abundance. We don't do that anymore. So here you have this massive bank of mitochondria that haven't burned a ketone in a while. And then you give them this sprint of 3-day fast. 72-hour fast is where you get the highest return of that growth hormone, of that norepinephrine. The return of benefit is peaking at 72 hours. I contend that after that, the return of the benefit is not as much. So I tell all of my patients, no more than 72 hours. We'll teach you how to get there without, pushing dropping their bone mass, robbing their mineralization from their bones, and this happens in elders. So we say 72 hours is what anybody would want. But what you did was you have a huge muscle mass, you have lots of mitochondria, and they are not in the shape of often using a ketone. By doing those multiple sprints that you did 17 days, you now have this huge recruitment that you've done because of the up and down. You ate, broke the fast, up and down. Okay, so now that 3rd or 4th time around, you have nearly the whole recruitment positive, like you've got every mitochondria that's burned a ketone. And like you said, it will last you months.
Oh, I felt different. I felt cleaned out. I felt like it was like a detox. I felt leaner. I felt I like just everything. I mean, I know it was 17 pounds, so that's not like huge weight, crazy weight. I would say I was probably 215 to 220, and I got down to like 200.
Wow.
And I learned a lot. I learned that it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. Yeah.
I learned that, that you can survive. Being a little hungry is okay.
Amen. Yeah.
We're not used to that, are we? Mm-hmm. I'm not.
Well, so each week, this is what I do in my practice. Like, I'm a female that's birthed 3 children. By definition, you are insulin resistant.
One of them's actually over there, not too far away. Proof.
Yes. That when you are gestating a baby, you have to be insulin resistant.
Yes.
It's part of what you're designed to do. So every woman that's had a baby, you've been insulin resistant if you carry the baby to term. That's what happens. And that cell memory is present, especially if you never really got the weight off after the babies. That reset of getting your mitochondria back to the health it was before the babies has to do with how often you got to got to burn a ketone. Well, welcome to moms that stay up and hear the baby in the other room and they don't sleep as well, and they're moms. And the same thing happened to me. That before you knew it, I'm probably 40 to 50 pounds above what I should be, and it was terrible. I mean, I could see the problem. And as you try to say, now, how do I recruit back? How do I get that back? How do you get the cell to do what it's supposed to do? You're fighting a ghost. I mean, you can't really measure insulin resistance without, I mean, you can with a CGM. But prior to this tool, I was following all the rules. I was doing the high fiber, doing everything that I was telling every patient to do. And I wasn't losing the weight. Neither was any of my colleagues.
Wow.
And the brain part that you talked about, saying if you can pulse and give your brain and your mitochondria that joy of burning ketones at a routine rhythm, whatever that is in your life, that the health of how you ward off diseases, it's incredible. And, I first came into this when my mom had a cancer that was very much, praise God, it was very responsive to a ketogenic diet. And as I look at the journey from just, kind of barfing our lives into a ketogenic space, and then doing the long game, doing the journey that says, how do I stay off high blood pressure medicine? I'm about to be 54 years old. How do I, have the easiest trip through menopause? How do I not have the consequences that my patients have shown me from the front lines, that I do not want that life. I want to hop into the grave the day before with my brain intact, with the drive to do what God's designed me to do. And you can't get there when your mitochondria never burn a ketone. So in my life, I start fasting on Sunday. I do a live show on my YouTube channel on Tuesday nights, and I show the whole world what is my glucose, what are my ketones, after 60 plus hours of fasting, depending on what time I start.
Wow. And you've been doing this how long now?
For like 7 years. I mean.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And so there are a few Monday holidays that I'll screw up and eat on Mondays.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I show up on Tuesday.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And for people who want to go back and listen to that episode, that's why I was looking at my phone very rudely, but I wanted to get the name right. The name of that episode, it's episode 219, was Dr. Boz's first time on the podcast, Boost Your Brain and Bust Cancer with Keto.
Wow.
Featuring Dr. Boz. So that's a two-parter too, by the way. And then even the second time we had you come in was the truth about marijuana and brain
that was
health.
a good one, yeah.
And that I think is also a two-parter, because we always have long conversations. And then I think the third time might have also been a two-parter, which is the five habits for like cognitive health or something like that. I'm trying to remember the name exactly. Here it is: 5 most important habits to protect your brain.
Oh yeah.
And that was also, we talk. They're all part 1s and part 2s. Those episodes, because it's so much information, it's really hard to squeeze that all into, a sub hour. So I think once we went way over an hour, I said, let's break these up into part 1 and part 2, because, but this episode obviously is a little bit different because we hadn't tackled specifically insulin resistance and taking a deeper dive, which has become like one of your number one topics on your channel.
Yeah. And I think if it hadn't been for what CGMs empower the patient to do, I mean, I could see it. I could say, this is what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what they're going to do next. Here's where they're going to screw it up. And you could just abort all that by saying, wear the CGM for 10 days every month for the next 3 months and watch what you see in your blood sugars.
Yeah.
And so that accountability, where you did so good because somebody was checking on you, that's in your little CGM.
Yep.
That's in your blood sugars every morning.
Yeah. And it becomes a little bit of like a competition thing, or it's almost like gamifying your health a little bit.
Totally.
And people like technology, right? Even our older folks out there, who are kind of scared of new things and technology. But if you teach them how to use it, it's pretty darn easy. The app, it really is. I mean, and so again, CGM stands for Continuous Glucose Monitor. Mm-hmm. Now, the ones that we're wearing are prescription.
Right.
Now, can you talk about, I know we mentioned it obviously in the YouTube videos, but can you talk up through that process a little bit?
I was super excited. About a year ago, there were the companies that make them that you write a prescription for both had approval from the federal government that they could get them direct to consumers without a prescription. I'm like, praise God. Get them in the hands of the customer. But what happened was they did not, the accuracy that's in each of those over-the-counter was way more liberal than I would have let.
Yep.
I mean, if you're trying to hit those markers of your fasting sugars should be in the double digits, don't go above 140 when you eat a meal within the first 30 minutes, you're not going to like these over-the-counter ones. They're up to 20 points off, and you
that's a
can't
lot.
calibrate them. Yeah. So that was what I tried. I tried like doing the math in my head and like believing it's 20 points. It did not work.
That's, to me, in my mind, as a longtime trainer, that's like doing a skin fold body fat test with somebody who only does like 3 sites or 5 sites on the body and doesn't know how to pinch the skin and doesn't know how to, like, the deviation is just so great. Like the number is almost meaningless.
Right.
Unless, obviously, the only benefit is how often are you doing the testing, and then you can follow a little bit of a flow of those numbers, those results. But a 20-point deviation is a massive deviation.
And so I really was trying to be all in when they first came out, and then I just said, I am not supporting these at all. Okay. It's just a distraction for the real truth. I mean, so we have a process. If you go to the Dr. Boz channel, there's a tab called Dr. Boz Favorites. And in the upper corner is the CGM that you can click over to my clinic in, and we have a touchless service where we'll get you the prescription. You fill out the questions that you're not using it for diabetes and you're studying yourself for it. And then we'll get that prescription over to the pharmacy, but you do have to be a little savvy. If you just walk up to the pharmacist, you can pay up to $1,000 a month for those. And you don't need to, so just shop around a little bit about where CGMs have a discount. Pharmacists have coupons. And in recent months, like the last 5 months, we've seen some prescription pharmacies, some insurance companies cover it for just a copay. Yeah. And that's not been the case in the past.
That's good. So it's leaning a little bit more favorable.
The tool is powerful.
And these, again, are Dexcom G7.
Yep.
And these are the ones that you recommend.
Yeah.
They're the good ones.
They have the easiest to use app. And again, what I want patients doing is empowering yourself to see what's going on. And once you see what's going on, you don't need to end up in an internal medicine clinic. You can prevent this. But you do need to learn how to take that glucose and get it down. And you need to have ketones being burned every night if you want your brain to last into your 80s and 90s without the debris. I mean, you could have the muscle mass and have a lot easier way to get there. But if you're the size of me, my tool to stay there is I fast for 60 hours a week. During that 60 hours, I work out. I push my metabolism. I didn't always, but I got healthier and healthier that my body wouldn't produce a ketone in that 60 hours. I mean, just barely. I'd have 60 hours of fasting and I have a ketone level of 0.8. You should have a much bigger number by then.
Yep.
But so I just kind of gotten used to what that stress was. Now the other levers I pull is I get into a sauna, I do a muscle training workout, and my ketones tomorrow at my show will be like probably 2.5 or 3, and my glucose will be probably where it is, 70s, 80, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Now, what are your eating habits the rest of the week, Wednesday through Saturday? What does a typical day of eating look like for you? For those listening, so you're a 53-year-old woman, and how many meals a day are you eating?
Probably 2 is pretty normal. Like I like egg bites on the way to work in the morning. So I like a protein that is not powderized. Having a history of insulin resistance, I can quickly produce insulin when my protein got powdered. I would try to do that. So whole foods for me in the breakfast. Okay. I love coffee on the way to work, and so egg bites fit the budget and fit the plan. But the second part is I keep a can of sardines at my office.
These sardines found their way back into the conversation.
Yeah, if I get hungry, that's the first thing that I'll eat.
Wow.
It's just such an easy thing to keep on the shelf. It doesn't go bad. I guess I'm kind of stingy because I'm like, I don't want to take the time to go find food, but I also want the food that goes in to have the highest return for my system. And I don't like when my brain slumps after I eat during the day. So if I get hungry during the day, I do like to eat with my husband. We have supper together. So I try to be home between 4:30 and 5 and have supper much earlier than what most people like to have.
Yes, a lot of people, and I even find this at my house, we're eating dinner oftentimes between 7 and 8 o'clock.
Right. Yeah.
Not ideal.
Right. And that I think is one of the hardest parts about when I look at the long game for patients that are getting into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they have the season of kids where their metabolism can't handle that unless they're doing some of the stuff that increases muscle mass, breaks that sweat for 20 minutes, get to zone 2 at least for 20 minutes in the day. And then sometimes they can handle supper at night. But most of them, they are making way too much insulin to get the insulin to go away. They need nothing burgers, at least like most of my elder patients, and I say that with all the respect in the world, but elder to me means severe insulin resistance. They got triple-digit numbers. They're north of 50, and that they've been triple-digit for a while. They shouldn't eat after 3 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if 3 o'clock comes around and they're hungry, your menu is sardines, meaning it is the most ketogenic food. It's the most satiating food. And the real question is, are you sardine hungry?
I might have to, I've never really give sardines a go.
Oh, really?
I've been hearing this S word a lot today. And you had the shirt on and everything.
Right.
I might have to give it a try. Obviously, and you said in oil, not in water.
Not in water.
Just like your tuna. If you're going to eat tuna, probably best to eat it in oil.
You want the fat, right?
Yeah, you want the fat. And but as a midday like snack, so to speak, right? Lots of protein, lots of fat.
You'll be so impressed, especially if you kind of just put yourself in the habit of it. Say, all right, for this week, I'm gonna do it, because when you open them, they do get a terrible smell award.
Yeah.
But the palate really doesn't have.
Well, it's like cheese, right? Like cheeses. Certain cheeses are like, whoa, but they're delicious.
Right, exactly.
So I get it.
That return of, if you get by the fifth day of sardine, or that afternoon can of sardines, you're absorbing a lot of that nutrients. And the hormones that tell your brain I'm full, that satiating hormone. This is that GLP-1, GIP, cholecystokinin, all these fat-based hormones that we market the heck out of, and we now have you inject once a week for, Ozempics and Mounjaros. But you can stimulate that in healthy people with a high-fat, high-protein meal, especially that you don't do it so close to sunset. By the fifth day, you'll be churning that out. And it will be what you should take notice of is, can you decrease the volume of food you're having with the kids? And that's really where the best health strategy comes, is put that protein and fat in, ignite that satiation, and then be mindful when you get down to supper time and say, I'm sitting with the kids. I'm here to be there as part of the family, but the consumption is either much smaller or, doesn't turn into
So typically your dinners are around the 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock hour, and then you're pretty much done eating for the day.
Yep, absolutely.
So after 6 until sleep, pretty much fasted state. So, and then you're sleeping, you're getting up, say, 6 a.m.-ish?
Yeah, I try to be at a workout somewhere around 6:30, so yeah.
So you're easily doing a 12-hour fast on
a
regular basis anyway. Sugar intake for you, incredibly low.
I try really hard not to. I mean, if husband buys those darn grapes.
So the grapes, those are your, and which are obviously a high. Now again, obviously it's a natural sugar, but still,
your body doesn't care.
It's going to spike.
Right.
You would tell most people listening, try to maybe go for a low glycemic fruit though, if like certain berries or
here's
melons.
What I would tell them, look at your CGM.
Okay.
If you've got a blood sugar of 115 or 120 and you're looking at the fruit, you do not need that. Just use the data to say, stop it. It's not helping you. I mean, when we look at fructose and how much it's the stimulus for producing the danger of brain disease, that is where Alzheimer's and that Parkinsonian and ALS and MS, those chronic diseases of aging, it's a bad day when that ends up on your chart. The fruit ain't worth it.
Nuts? Some nuts?
So here's the deal with nuts.
I'm trying to get, what are people listening are going, but I like this, or I like, what are some foods that.
Watch what it does to your sugars.
Yeah, right.
Right. So to me, when you said today I had a healthy dose of nuts, I said, I wonder how much.
No, it wasn't ridiculous.
Okay, good.
It was a very small, the container is smaller than my phone.
Oh, so it's all portion controlled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't I poured just a normal amount, I felt like probably like a nice handful of cashews.
Okay. Well, it's interesting, when I first entered the ketogenic diet, I was all about which nuts are highest in fat. And I have a love-hate relationship with nuts. I mean, if they're around, they're great. And they've
satisfying.
got this, they're satisfying. There's salt with them. And I eat way too much of them. I mean, so I had to learn I can't do that. I cannot have them in the house. Or if I have them in the house, I just have learned I can't do that.
Wow.
What taught me that was the CGM. Like, I just had too many. I'd have blood sugars in the 160s.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like, yeah, it's a total betrayal from the healthy nut. And
wow.
Part of it is that the volume of
Well, I was
nuts.
going to say it was a little bit of a quantity.
Well, the other part is you look at how many carbs are in cashews, or look at how many carbs are in peanuts.
Yeah.
And it's just a ton. So when you're insulin resistant, it'll just take you right off track. So watch what it does to your sugar. Don't make me the bad guy. Watch what your system does. And
so I'm a huge advocate for eggs. So eggs get a strong thumbs up for you.
Yep.
Avocados.
Yeah, I think, again, nice healthy fat, how much do you need? And so
half is probably
So watch what it does to your
amount.
sugar, and it's usually pretty good. Like avocados, I've actually had a season where I said just don't do it because they were eating more volume than I thought they should. But when people wear a CGM, it's not bad. So I'm back to saying, see what it does to you. I bet you it doesn't raise your blood sugar as much as I used to give them credit for. Maybe it was just the guacamole and they were actually eating
right. Well,
chips.
that's just it too. Right. Yeah.
Right.
No, and I get it. And I'm a sucker for, guac and
Right. The guac needs to go with a spoon.
Good chips, and
Right.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm there. So when I look at the sabotage that patients have with insulin resistance, they don't know they have it. The biggest reveal comes when they have a continuous understanding of what their blood sugars are doing. And then the next one is they give up. They get to that saying, I just can't, what she's asking is impossible. It's not impossible. But being on a tribe of people that are improving their numbers, I mean, that's what I'm really proud of the Dr. Boz brand and what we've done. Twice a year, I lead this class called the 21-Day Metabolic Kick.
Yeah, you were telling me a little bit about that.
Right.
Talk about it.
Best medicine I've done in 25 years. Oh. If I want to take somebody and put them in my clinic and say, in 4 years, you're going to be in a zone of healthy, and I'll give them a few examples of the patients. But 4 years of commitment is a long road.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that fall off that track and don't come back.
Right.
When they go into this class, and we're just about to do our 7th one, where we take 200 students, we walk them through 21 days, Monday through Friday, of a support group that is doing the things we're asking patients to do. The protocol that I built it around is the protocol for what I would use for a seizure patient or a cancer patient. So it's a very intense ketogenic protocol, but everybody succeeds. And at the end, the support group that we have you in, which is a group about 8 or 10, those students own it. So we pass over that accountability of if we hold your future health in our hands, then we didn't help you very much. Mm-hmm. So we birth, after every class, a bunch of these support groups where they are their own little Zoom groups. Yes. They meet once a week, and they have accountability.
You have to have that.
Right.
Otherwise,
everybody's checking numbers.
Yeah,
everybody's
you have to have it. I have it. I have a men's group I'm part of every Saturday, and otherwise you don't stick to anything. We all need accountability. We all need a mentor or a coach in our life at some level. We need a community that holds us to a standard.
Yeah. And honestly, when people say I failed on the ketogenic diet, I mean, the first thing I say is, did you measure? And if they weren't measuring, I'm like, then you weren't on the ketogenic diet, because you can't be on a ketogenic diet if you don't make ketones.
Yes.
And this is where the marketing won, and the little voice saying, check your ketones.
Yeah.
I was lost. I was in the whirlwind of, I give up. I didn't give up. I was just, nope, this is what I'm doing with my patients. And the ones that do it, they reverse the problems.
Anyone listening is interested in doing this
21-day
thing. Where should they go?
Yeah, bosmd.com. We only open up the cart for about 6 weeks before the class, and as soon as the 200 seats are sold, we close the class. We want 200 committed students, and it's my favorite thing. I'll do it till I die. Wow. What these students get is my personal attention throughout these 3 weeks, and they get to be on a journey that it changes lives. It's one of my favorite things.
Wow. BozMD.com. BOZMD.com.
Yep.
Love that. That's awesome. Wow, and that's coming up. You said.
Yeah, we do it right after Labor Day every year.
Okay.
And then right after the holiday that's in the late January. So Martin.
So by the time this goes live, it's going to be right about when this thing
see if the card's
goes.
still open, see if we sold our 200 tickets yet.
Wow.
And I will say, if you're looking for next class, just tune in on Tuesday Night Lives. This is a little mini lesson I give every week for free. And that's on our YouTube channel that is, again, growing, but a place where I get to teach people just a little snippet every week on how to do this journey.
It's so fascinating. Like, there's a million. I have like so many different talking points here on this stuff. It's really crazy. There's people listening that certainly have questions, which I encourage. You can ask your questions to us, like on YouTube or on any social platform. But honestly, I mean, the best way to probably get your questions answered would be to reach out to Dr. Boz's team on her YouTube channel. And then where else? What are some of the other good places?
So we get lots of emails, and they're asking questions that most of our people have already asked. So we usually send you to one of our YouTube channels, or like, hey, watch this video to answer your question.
Right. I've already talked about this so many times.
Right.
Just
so
watch the video.
We send you to the videos, but then I do answer questions live on that Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, there is at the end of
it. It's a weekly live stream on Tuesdays.
At 4
it's like
o'clock,
an hour plus long.
Right. And it is the first part. I'm usually giving a little lesson. And then if your question is relevant to the lesson, we answer the questions at the end. And that's live. That's how I answer questions in real time. Of course, not medical advice, just really trying to make sure that the space of medical education happens from somebody who's really committed to speaking truth. And, God help me when I do it wrong, that I come back and say, I got to do that again. And I've had to do that. But for the most part, people write in and say, this is what I teach my doctor because of what I learned on you. So on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, it's coming from a place of really trying to, you're fixing wounds with, a proper approach. You're addressing the wound. You're suturing it. You're doing all the aftercare. You're really trying to fix it and restore it back to what it needs to be. Whereas the medications, and I'm not saying like people just stop taking your medications. Like, a lot of people need these things. Right. I get it for where they're at. But what's the deeper underlying problem for why I have to take this medication?
Absolutely.
And can I fix that? And most times is what you're saying is it's a metabolic issue that can be resolved, or at least
step one is fix the blood sugars. Right.
Yeah. Right.
There's a ton of thyroid and hormonal and but testosterone and estrogen and cortisol and how well a brain hasn't been working to work. All of those are spin-outs after you control the blood sugar.
Yeah.
Once the blood sugar is controlled, the way out of this chronic inflammatory state is a return on your investment for educating you out of that problem first. And then it's often that, Doc, my migraine stopped. Doc, my gout stopped coming.
Yeah.
Doc, it is, the returns are better.
Yeah, I oftentimes when I'm talking to somebody and they have this issue or that issue, and in my mind, all I'm starting to think, I'm just like, well, what are they? I bet you they're dehydrated. I bet you they drink too much soda. Right. I bet you they eat too much processed foods. Right. I bet you they eat too much sugar. I bet you they eat too late. I bet you they don't get really good sleep. I bet you they don't exercise regularly. Like, I can create a diagnosis, which might not be 100% accurate, but probably pretty darn close. Right. And if you're not checking a lot of these things as, I'm doing good in that, of course you're going to have some kind of, maybe you get by in your 20s and 30s by ignoring all of these things.
That's just it.
Eventually, you're going to hit a crossroads.
Right.
And that's probably right around the age we're at, right? When you start to hit about 50, if you've been doing things wrong for a few decades.
Right. It hurts. And truly, that people lose hope, that they say, I have to have surgery. I have to have these medications. I have to be on these immunomodulators. And it's heartbreaking, because that's not what you might have to be on them today. But the core problem is to restore your metabolism. And I know that's very glib, and there's marketers out there that say, take this supplement. you first have to control the blood sugars to do that. And I think that we teach it the best I've ever seen. I'm really proud of what we do. I also, it's a really intense course, and so we only do it twice a year.
Yeah.
But I see the consequences of doing this for the last 4 years. This will be beginning our 4th year. We have lots of people who no longer take medications. They're at their ideal body weights. They're in their 70s and said, I wish.
See, that's crazy.
Right.
So that just shows you right there, even if you've gotten it wrong
Right.
through a majority of your life, there's a
Right.
lot more life behind them than in front of them at 70 years old. But even at 70, they can take steps to
reversed it,
fix.
right.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, in a year's time or two, they're in the best shape
so
they've
rewarding.
been in since they
Yes.
were 20 years old.
It is
some
so
of
rewarding.
these people.
Yeah. And honestly, it's exactly what happened to my mom. She was dying at 71.
Yep.
But by 72 and a half, she was Mary Poppins.
Yeah, see, that's crazy.
Yeah. And you're like,
Mary Poppins. And yeah, that's a great analogy because I light up when I think
Right.
of the original Mary
Right,
Poppins.
me
Who,
too.
why is her name
Yeah,
slipping me? Come on now. We got to get it. We got to get
Julie
it.
Andrews.
Julie Andrews.
Yes.
That one, man.
Perfect.
That's a perfect example of what we all want to aspire,
Oh,
like
I just
energy wise, right?
Yes.
Like, that
spot.
was great. It was one of my favorite movies as a
Yeah.
kid. That's great.
Right.
So this is fun. So again, we've said it a million times. Dr. Boz on YouTube, and it's pretty much the same everywhere, right?
Right.
Because you have a big following on Instagram
right.
and Facebook, and then bozmd.com, obviously.
It's the website. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
Chris,
fabulous.
I really want to say thank you for bringing me back. Of
course.
When I heard that you'd given a TED Talk, I was like, I wonder if I can help him as much as he's helped me.
Well, I called you before I did the talk because
Yes.
I said, "Am I like I got accepted?" You know, because
so
it's
cool.
it's
I
like an
know.
interview process, you know, and you get accepted, and you can do your talk, and I'm like, I gotta talk to Dr. Boz and make sure that she feels that this is a strong enough, topic.
Right.
And this is the kind of direction I want to take it. And so I told you some of my bullet points, and you were like, this sounds great. I really like it. It flows with everything that we've discussed in the past with brain health and achieving, optimal cognitive health and function. And so anyway, it was such an honor, and I just appreciated you giving me that feedback only weeks before I was
Right.
going to be doing the thing. And that was, by the way, the most anxious I'd ever been in my entire life. Because, listen, I've done a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos and speaking in front of a room of people, but not on a stage like that where, you're doing
you get
something
a score.
that's...
I mean, I don't know if you know that, but their evaluations are, did he stay the time limit? Did he do this? Did the arc of the story? Yeah.
I've gotten nothing but incredible feedback too from the thing, and I hadn't looked at the video for a while, and it's, the video is doing fine. We haven't plugged it or advertised it or doing anything, so I don't know, 17,000 views, something like that. But the comments, I went in and read. There's hundreds of comments, and people are like, just awesome. I went in and answered every single comment, and I'm going to go back routinely and check it because I feel like if someone fell on this video, landed on this video, they were trying to learn something.
Right.
And if I can continue that conversation or motivate them or at least acknowledge that they saw the talk. So anyway, a lot of that obviously is credited to you and all the things that we've talked about for the last 3-4 years about, cognitive function and stuff. So, glad you came back. We made a mess. But that's fine. It's what we do. What are our final numbers going out?
Okay, so as we look at our CGMs, mine's at 79.
And I'm at 99.
See, that's great. And you can see where that calibration affected your numbers there. And that's fantastic.
And I haven't eaten. So I did have that pre-workout meal at 11:30, which was a banana, which I know yuck. A handful of cashews and one of those little tuna fish, like packets or whatever. That was my, make sure I don't crash while we're exercising. Right. But I mean, I'm still pretty high at 99. I mean,
a can of sardines looks like a perfect supper here.
That would be a perfect supper, huh? That would keep me. That wouldn't have much impact on this number at all, would it?
That's the beauty, is saying, okay, if you're trying to do what your mitochondria did without all that fasting, can of sardines.
Wow. All right. Oh, 97. Got 2 points better just
it's
since we started
addictive.
talking.
Be careful.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I just put this thing in this morning, and my wife and I are going to be on this freaking app most hours of the day now. Check, like we're going to be in competition with each other. But no, this is fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks for inviting me back, and
of course,
ping me with questions.
Yes.
When you're healthy, all your audience gets
well, and again, I told you, if you have questions, take them right to Dr. Boz. She has so many ways for you to contact her, so many touch points. She does live streams on YouTube. So, I mean, you can contact her or her team and probably get real answers from her pretty quickly. And, she's just a wealth of knowledge. She's been at this for decades, and a trusted resource certainly for you to optimize your health. Go check her out, bozmd.com or Dr. Boz on any platform that you're interested. Always a pleasure to have her here in the building. And we thank you so much for tuning into the Strong by Design podcast. We release episodes every week or every 2 weeks, depending on where we're at with content. And it's the summer. This will probably be airing end of August, early September. So, we hope that this inspires you for optimizing your health as we creep into the last part of this year. So make 2025 as healthy as you possibly can. And we'll see you back here on the next episode on Strong by Design. God bless you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.